Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Geordie from Geordie Colours. Thank you so much for joining me. We are back with part 22, I believe, of our full book colour along in R.J. Hampson's gorgeous book, Awake. This one is called A Good Book, and it's a little, well, he's not little really, is he? A giraffe sitting on his comfy chair reading his book. Now, I've tried to go for a slightly more vintage colour palette than normal for this guy today, but let's start with our giraffe. So I have YR33, Y1 and Y3 for my giraffe, and I'm going to start with my darkest marker as always. Now I'm going to ignore the spots on him for now because they're quite small, and I think it will make it a little bit trickier to kind of colour into all the places that I want to get to. So I'm just going to colour over them, and then I'll go back and deal with them later. And I'm just going to add in our shadows first, just like I always do, starting with my darkest and then moving into the lightest. Now I'm going to colour straight over his glasses as well. I tend to do that and then just go back over with like a bluish colour afterwards to add the kind of look of glass on them. But yeah, you can feel free to do whatever you choose. Let's do this here as well, that bit there with our darkest. Now apologies if you can hear lots of shouting and screaming outside. It is the school holidays, the kids are on holiday, they're making a lot of noise, but that's okay because, you know, they're allowed to have fun on the Christmas holidays. Okay, I'm just going to colour all that in and colour those bits. So that's kind of his head. There's actually not much of him showing, is there? Because he's wearing a very dapper pair of trousers and shirt. He does look rather sophisticated, this giraffe. Well-educated giraffe, I think. I don't know what he's reading. Probably a literary classic, I would imagine, from the looks of him. He looks like he'd enjoy some sort of, I don't know. What do you think? Maybe he's reading a little bit of Arthur Conan Doyle, some Sherlock Holmes or something like that. I don't know. But he does look very intelligent. Okay, so finished off our giraffe. I'm going to go into do his spots. Now I'm just going to use a BR1 for all the other bits I want to do. So I'm going to do his eyebrows here. I'm going to do his spots. I'm kind of going to do the tops of these little horn things that he's got there. His arm and his leg. So using the darker marker over the top means that you can just colour straight over them and it all looks fine. Okay, for his kind of hooves, I'm going to use the browns as well. We're going to bring in a slightly lighter colour as well. So I've got E172. Sorry, E170 as well, not E172. Does that make sense? So we'll start with the dark one of the BR1, and we'll just kind of lay in our shadows, and then go in with the lighter colour. Oh, wrong end. Just gonna blend that out a bit. I might just stick with the lightest colour first, and then I can add my shadow over the top. Got rather long nails, this giraffe. Okay, so that's pretty much my giraffe done. I've got this R23 marker out, which I'm going to be using in the chair, but I'm just going to add a touch of that to the inside of his ears there. And do we add a little, maybe we'll add a little bit of a cheek in here as well. Make him have a little rosy cheek. Okay. Right, let's do the chair next then. So I'm going to do them in kind of shades of rosy pinkish colour. So I've got R28, R280 and R23. Now these are shades that I don't use a lot of, so let's see how they go. It'd be kind of fun to do something a little bit different. Let's see how it works. Hopefully they blend out nicely. R23 is definitely a little bit brighter, maybe not the best choice. I'm thinking I might swap that out. Yeah, I think that's a bit too bright. Let's have a look. Not the best colour choice, that one. Let's see, what else can I go for? Oh, what else is going to work? Maybe R250. Let's have a look. Oh goodness, I can never find them when I'm looking for them. Sorry. This is why I like to have them all out before I start, because I spent ages trying to find them and I still can't see it. There it is. Right, let's try R250. So what I'm going to do is just go over what I've just coloured there with the R250 and try and dull that down a bit and push it out a bit so it's not quite so bright. That's a bit better. Just keep going over it until I feel like it's kind of pushed out. Oh, I almost went in with the same colour again. That would have been a disaster. Right. Sometimes there's a bit of trial and error, and that's okay. Can't get it right there all the time. Okay, that's better. Right, let's do the rest of the chair. I'm trying to see where it goes here. So let's do this bit. It does look like a really comfy armchair, doesn't it? And there's a little poof underneath. I was thinking initially of doing like a kind of green armchair, which I think would have looked quite nice, but then I decided I wanted to do his shirt in a green, so yeah, I thought this one would work better as a contrast. So this shade is quite a lot lighter. So I just need to keep going over it a few times, and then I'll bring that mid-tone back in as well. Just really saturate that paper, and then I'll bring that mid-tone back again. And sometimes if your colours really aren't blending well, you can do a little technique, which is to touch the tip of your markers. I tend to pick it up from the base because I always have a lot left over, and just kind of use it like that, and you get a little bit of a transition colour to help blend it out a bit smoother. So there we go, that'll do. Make sure I've got the right top on the white pen. Right, let's go back in with the darkest marker and do the kind of back of the chair here. Oh, I've got the wrong end again. So I kind of want it shaded around here. I don't know what colour I'm going to do those buttons. I might do them like a gold gel pen, I think. This is going to be dark in here. Maybe a little bit like that. And then I want to do some darker colour around the little bits where it's kind of like sunken in, as that where the buttons are. Okay, and then we're going to use our lightest colour. Again, we're really going to have to work over this because it's a lot lighter than those other ones. Okay, let's do some of that tip to tip blending again. See if we can't smooth that out a bit more. This is one way of doing it. The other way is to, which I actually prefer, just it takes a little bit longer, is to take something like this. This is just an acrylic block, and rub the darker marker on it and then pick it up with the lighter colour and use it that way. I find that works quite nicely. You can see my paper's completely saturated now. Okay, that's cool. I think it's not too bad. Right, let's do, where else do we need to do around these areas? Oh, I keep getting the wrong end of this marker because this one comes from the skin tone set, so it's kind of the other end of the brush marker. That bit's going to be a bit of cushion as well. I think they're good colours. They're just a little bit hard to blend because they're so different from each other. Let's bring that acrylic block in again. Let's get some more of that on. And this light marker is really juicy, so it's got a lot of alcohol in it. So yeah, it's blending out pretty quickly. I'm going to go over this bit. Smooth that out a bit. Okay, it's not too bad. Right, let's do this cushion. I actually really like an armchair in this colour. I think it's kind of cool. What you just have to do at the end, once you've finished all your colouring, is just really make sure that this lightest marker is really cleaned off well, and you haven't got any of the darker shade left on it. Otherwise, when you go to use it again, it will be darker than you expect. Okay, gonna see all the bits. His arm's going to be casting a shadow, so I'm going to do this in just the two darkest shades, I think. Just bring a touch of that lightest one just in that little bit there. Okay. I feel like it's getting really dark. Hopefully you can still see all right and it's not casting too many shadows. There's going to be a bit of shadow there where it's kind of overhanging. Yeah, I actually really like these colours, although they're a little bit difficult to blend. I actually really like them. I think they've turned out quite nice. Let's scribble some more of that tone on there. Sometimes you just don't have that kind of in-between shade that will work. So you kind of gotta mix the markers a little bit like this, which helps. Okay, now do I do this bit? I think I will do this bit in the same shades as well. I think that will look a little bit more. I was kind of debating whether to do them brown, but I think I'll do these bits of pink as well. And just do the kind of feet of the chair in the browns. Okay, so there's my armchair. Let's do the poof. He's got his little, his rather long, large legs sitting on. And do the whole top of this one dark because his feet will be casting a shadow as well. I'm just going to do the kind of sides of it in this light colour. Okay, I need to pull this out again. Okay, and let's do this bottom part. Okay, right, let's just, I'm just gonna, this lightest marker, I'm just gonna scribble off a little bit so that I make sure that when I come to use it again, it is the right colour. And I can just pop that aside. I can clean that later. So if you've got an acrylic block like this, you can just clean it. I tend to find it comes off quite easily with just a damp cloth, but if it's really sticking, you can use like an alcohol wipe or something that will get it off. Okay, we're going to go on to some of the kind of the feet and stuff of the chair. So I'm going to go back with the same browns that I used for his kind of hooves, BR1 and E170. I just like to use the markers that I've got out rather than kind of bringing out more colours. I just tend to find it's easier just to use the same markers throughout the page rather than worrying about swapping them out all the time. And these are only little areas, so I don't need to worry too much. Okay. The little feet of the chair. And as always with this, I'm not going to bother adding any background or anything to it. I'm just going to keep it really simple and just colour in the page. And I've just realised I've missed his tail. So while I've got these brown markers, I'm going to do his tail in this brown colour as well. And then I can do his tail in the yellows in a minute. Can't believe I forgot his tail. Okay, so these bits are just like I say, just little small areas, so we don't need to worry too much. Okay, let's do his tail with the yellows that I used for the rest of him. I kind of forgot giraffes have tails. Poor giraffe, I've forgotten about him. Okay, and then we're going to use that same BR1 marker to do the spots on his tail. Okay, right, next up I'm going to do his shirt. So So I said I was going to do greens. I'm going to do kind of like old-fashioned greens, if you like. So G7, G5 and G9. Let's hope that these blend out okay for me. So we'll start with this collar because it's a nice small area, and if it doesn't work, I don't have to stress too much. I don't know what colour I'm going to do his tie yet. I think these will work. Nice dark kind of, like I said, like kind of like a vintagey type green. Oh, I think I just did his belt then, but never mind, that's okay. I'll do a little bit of darker stuff in here. I'm going to do his pocket separately because they'll be the same colours, but I'll just do it separately so I can figure out where the shadows are going to go. And these ones blend quite nicely. A lot easier than the pink. I'm just going to go straight over the buttons because I will, again, I'll worry about those once I've finished. I might do them with a gold gel pen to make life easy. Okay, let's do the pocket. Very smart looking giraffe. And let's do his sleeves. And the cuffs. I feel like the last couple of pages I've done in this book have been a little bit more detailed and they've taken me a little bit longer. But it's still fun. I'm enjoying them a lot. I'm really happy to see this book coming together and how, like, I just really love the way that it looks with all the pages starting to fill up. And I'm really loving seeing everybody else's pages as well. It's really, really cool to see what everybody else has been doing. I know some of you have been doing the same as me and just following along with the colour along, which is awesome. Some of you have been adding your own touches and making them your own. But yeah, it's just really cool to see this book filling up. It's definitely the furthest I've ever got through any colouring book. And yes, I know that it's a quick and easy and simple book to colour, but it's still a sense of achievement, isn't it? It's still nice to see it happening. Okay, I like that for his shirt. Now his trousers, I'm going to do in a kind of, I want them to look black, but I'm going to use greys. So I've got NG07, CG5 and CG070. Now whenever I do black, I always use greys. I know that sounds like a contradiction, but I think if you go in with black, it just looks a little bit too stark. You kind of want it to have a little bit of a contrast, otherwise it just doesn't look, yeah, it just ends up looking like a big black blob. So using greys still looks like black, but it still kind of gives the impression that it's a black, meant to be a black colour. I think I've done those around the wrong way. Meant to be a black colour. Oh, I have done that the wrong way. Never mind, that's okay. So the CG5 looks darker than the CG070. But it's not. It's actually lighter. So yeah, that's one thing you should be aware of is when you're using these markers, don't just go by the colour on the top, because sometimes it can be a bit deceiving. What was I saying? Yeah, black. I like it to look like it's I like it to look black, but if you just went in with black, solid black, it would just look like a big kind of black smudge. Does that make sense? I don't know if it does. Hopefully you get my meaning. So yeah, I like to use greys and kind of build up the colour a little bit to make it look black. Same with doing something white, like you can just leave things white, but if you add a little bit of grey to the white, it really makes it look more white, because, you know, white things have a shadow as well. They're not just flat white when you see them, so yeah. I hope that made sense. I know what I'm trying to say, I just don't know if it's coming across right. Okay. Here we go, he's got his black trousers on. His belt, I guess I'm going to do his belt in, and it's probably not very proper to have a brown belt, but he's going to have a brown belt with a gold buckle, because he's a very classy giraffe. Oh, I keep getting the wrong end. And then what colour am I going to do? What colour am I going to do his mug? I don't really want to introduce any more colours in. So maybe I'm going to do these same. Was that going to be too much? Maybe I do need a different colour. Oh, what colour should I do his mug? Okay, let's start with his book. I'm going to do his book in the same greens around the edge, so we just need a tiny touch of that dark green, I think, for the kind of like cover of the book. And then the pages of the book I'm going to do in this E280 colour. And again, I want them to look white. I'm just going to add a touch of this to add some shadow to it, to make it look like it's, you know, got a bit of shadow on it. That makes sense. Just like that. Okay, I need his tie and the mug and the tassels maybe. Oh goodness. What colours to use? Do I go for kind of like a vintagey bluish colour maybe? Maybe I'm going to try PB11 and MG060, I think. PB11, this is where I can never find them. PB11, MG060. I actually found those quite quickly. Right, okay, let's do his tie first of all. Quite a dark shade, I don't want it too dark, so this will lighten it up quite a lot. Yeah, I think that works. I think that looks quite nice. It's the same kind of like vintagey tones, isn't it, without adding too much of another colour. I don't want to add too many more colours in. Darker colour on. I think that's pretty good. Okay, the tassels and everything else I think I'm going to do with a gold gel pen, so let's pull that out. Yeah, let's use this. This is the Signo Uniball in gold. This is the broad size, so it will fill up a little bit easier. I'm going to do the buttons. And my pen is actually working well for a change. Normally I struggle with this part of it. Maybe it's buttons, and then these tassels can be gold as well. I've never actually seen tassels on on a armchair before? I don't know. Is that a thing? Tassels on an armchair? Obviously I've seen like the buttons and stuff, but not the tassels. I don't know. Anyway, there we go. I think that's it. I just need to do a little touch of colour on his glasses. So I'm going to take this MG060 because I've used it, and I'm just going to add a little touch. It's probably a little bit darker than I would normally like to go, but we'll just add a touch of that to add a little bit of colour to his glasses. And there we go. Let's add some white gel pen. I've lost my thicker gel pen. Okay, let's try this one. The Jelly Roll, Secura Jelly Roll in the 08. Don't think you're going to see it a great deal on the yellow parts anyway. But we'll add it on there. I've been having problems with my gel pens lately, just not working as I would like. I don't know why. This one seems to be working okay, which is good news. I'm going to do that there as well. Where else do we want it? I never quite know where to put it. I always feel like I'm going to mess it up and put it in the wrong spot, but I kind of think it doesn't really matter. Whatever works. Sorry if I'm turning this slightly, it just makes it a little bit easier for me to pop the pen where I want it. I think that's looking pretty good, really. Okay. Yeah, I think we're done. I mean, we could add some, I'm going to add a little bit of like a shine mark on his glasses there. We could add some glossy accents to his glasses, but I actually think I'm going to leave it this time and just have that. And have I smudged? Oh, I have smudged a little bit of the gold, but it's not too bad. So there we go. We got a little bit of gold, and we've got some lovely vintagey colours for our giraffe reading his book. And that's done. That's page 22 of our full book colour along. I really hope you enjoyed this one. I had a lot of fun colouring this. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you again in the next one. Bye.